cool. This is Sarah. I am a roboticist and technologist and an artist and a writer and a person who draws a lot and loves cheese. And I'm walking into my lab right now. This is the house that I live in and work in with Mark, my collaborator and partner. And this is 2020, and we are surviving a bunch of stuff right now and trying to make the best of things. Right, Mark?
Right.
So this is the room where everything takes place that's meaningful. Mark's side of the room is very orderly and is dedicated for mostly doing electronics and soldering things together that are very small. He has a microscope for doing crazy tweezing with tweezers and melting tiny shapes to other shapes. He's an electronics engineer, that's what he does. And then my side of the room looks like a 12-year-old's bedroom. Yeah, my side of the room has a bunch of mechanical projects that I'm working on currently, peppered throughout the space. There's a lot of pieces and moving parts because I design a lot of wearables and I make robots. So there's robot body parts everywhere, along with lots of little like shapey-do things that I use for stuff. I actually do use these things. And I look at them when I need to be calmed down, so I've been looking at them a lot more often lately. More or less, on any given day, this is the space where everything happens. Every single day now, because there's a pandemic going on, and neither one of us has any good reason to leave the house. So we don't. And we haven't for, like, the entire year. What do you do for a living, Mark? What do you
My life living is I am an electronics engineer. So I design electronics, I put them together, I solder electronics, I make robots.
You code.
I write code. So in my career, in addition to electronics, I learned how to write lots of programs in Java and Python and C and even assembly language and things like that. So yeah, so I do all those things. What else? Tacos.
Mark.
Definitely, I like making tacos.
Mark. Yeah, at this point, I think that keeping the Christmas tree up is just, like, considered good luck, I guess. Mark's back. What are you gonna do now?
Shower.
Yeah? You gonna work on Noodle? So, very important. Here I am.
The third life form that shares this lab space with us is Noodle Feet, my child. Noodle Feet is a adolescent space probe. That's how I view him. His dream is to one day go to another planet and explore and taste all of the rocks that are there, because that's what all space probes want to do, right? Is make friends with all the rocks. Until then, he has a whole network of family and friends that are helping him grow up big and strong so that one day he is ready to do that. Noodle is, I consider him to be literally like my offspring. And I've been working on him for, 5 years now. This has been challenging. Over the years, raising him has involved upgrading his body. I'm trying to help him walk more independently, which is sort of the thing driving the bodily changes. His feet are actually capable of sensing things in his environment. Each one is mechanical and it's equipped with its own brain, kind of like an octopus has like neurons in its tentacles. Each one of his feet can execute different things. So he can taste things and he can pick up objects off the ground that he's sampled. He can grip onto surfaces and plant things inside of them. And he can drool. Yeah, he has feet tongues, so he can lick surfaces too. It's important. We did manage to design and fabricate a new brain for him. And it has a Jetson module as one of the lobes so that he can do object recognition inside of his own head, instead of having to rely on an external computer like he's had to in the past.
He's about to have his little eye plugged in. That's actually mounted in his head now. And we're gonna test and see if his fifth classifier trained properly, which is a big deal because we've been working on this for like a couple months now. He's got his friends with him for moral support. Noodle? Can you see Fisty, Noodle?
He said 93%.
93% Fisty? You can't see Mommy though. Oh.
There's Mommy. Mommy has special...
Noodle, what's this?
Is it pizza?
Do you know what this is?
Uh-oh.
Noodle.
Turn it. Oh, God.
Noodle.
Why does this thing suck on a pizza? That's
Noodle.
like the easiest one.
I know, you'd think. Why?
That
Noodle.
makes no sense.
I am a mechanical person. I like to design all of Noodle Feet's functioning bits. When it comes to the programming stuff, especially in regard to machine learning, I have to yield pretty much entirely to Mark. And Mark is stuck right now.
So I'm going through Jetson tutorials as a starting point to get Noodle's recognition so he can see things. And then I will train the Jetson so that he can now then see the things that we want to see.
So this is the cheese board right here. Noodle has a burger brain, which is his motor controller that the Jetson's going to talk to. There, Noodle's burger.
Plugs in.
It plugs in. So the cheese is
Plugs in right there.
the cheese is the adapter for the burger, and then this thing in front is for the lettuce. And the lettuce is just another adapter board for connectors that plug into the front that need to
The motors,
the motors and the
sensors,
eyes.
and LEDs. Yes.
So it's like a full burger.
Yeah.
But the Jetson right here, this thing is just the lobe responsible for Noodle recognizing objects and stuff, which is what Mark's been trying to figure out how to do.
Yes.
All summer.
All summer.
Noodle is impatient. He's losing his little shit over there.
He doesn't have a mind to lose yet.
He's got a pizza to lose.
Pizza.
One of the first things Mark and I tried to teach Noodle how to recognize using his new, self-contained brain. We wanted him to recognize a COVID. Like one of these. COVID shape, right? Once we get the software working, he'll be able to be irrationally paranoid about COVID just like his parents. Irrational's not the word. Compulsively on his mind, like his parents. Yes, compulsive. Yeah, one of the things that happened this year, like it or not, was the COVID-19 pandemic and the quarantine. Everything had been canceled and the city shut down, entirely. Las Vegas was just done, and everyone was scared. Our media here in the US is kind of ridiculous right now. Multiple kind of apocalyptic things have been unfolding over the past few months, all at the same time. And everything is political right now because it's an election year, so the truth is just sort of distorted and spun, depending on who's dishing it out. And it's really difficult to tell what's up and down and what's real and what's not and what's blown out of proportion. So everything is scary. And that really sucks the energy out of you, especially creatively. So having really no energy to do much of anything, I decided that I was going to dedicate a significant portion of this year to healing. Yes, emotional healing, mental healing.
Very early in the month of April, I started sewing, maniacally. Part of the reason why this started at all was because I decided I wanted to have a cow buddy to hug, but I didn't own a stuffed cow that I could actually squeeze and hold on to. I had to make one, and I dug up a pattern on Etsy that I liked because it looked kind of like a cow cube, like a big, square, chonky, thick cow, and it was perfect. And once I made one of them, I wanted to make another one, and then eventually, very soon, I had a half a dozen cows. The repetitive
act of stitching two pieces of fabric together by hand helped me tune out whatever unfortunate stuff was going on in the world.
So I started making them for people that I missed, because at this time I wasn't actually seeing any of my friends. They were also in quarantine and equally as anxiety-stricken as I was. And I wanted to make people presents, and I think the act of imagining a point in time when I had to actually give them the cow gave me some level of comfort, because it meant that there was a future that I could look forward to where I would get to see my friends again and give them a gift that I had made that had meaning to me. And then they could hug the cow when they felt scared too, and it would calm them down maybe. This is a basic pressure plate which I made out of a container. I think vinyl tape came in this container. But if you pop the lid off, inside there is a arcade switch, or arcade stick button switch, and it is wired directly to this egg vibrator. The lid is just a far enough distance away from the button on the inside that you have to press it down slightly in order for it to turn the vibrator on. I guess there's a speed, so... Does it sound like a cow?
Yes, mark that as cow.
First and foremost, I think of myself as an illustrator. That is to say that everything that I've created in this lab that is mechanical or robotic or electronic started out as a drawing of something, either a character or just a concept sketch. The nice thing about the pandemic or the quarantine or whatever, isolation, is that I've had ample time to sit in the lab and draw for hours and hours. And one of the things that I've been able to do is start illustrating one of my stories as a webcomic. So I've been working on a story called Zonus, which is something that I wrote when I was a lot younger, and I've just been putting off beginning pretty much my entire adult life. The only thing that's a bit weird right now about that is since I don't have access to humans to take reference photos for my drawings, Mark has been taking photographs of me, so I am everything, which makes me feel a little bit crazy or mildly schizophrenic. But yeah, it's good that I'm getting time to draw. I want to say that it creates a lot less anxiety for me to draw than do anything in CAD or assemble something that I designed that was 3D printed. It's my zen.
So I have to learn Python, which I don't do. I don't think is a great language. So
Are you in pain?
I'm in pain.
What's wrong?
The TensorFlow isn't tensing or flowing. Literally using TensorFlow is type something, take the error message and Google that. Look at 80 blogs that don't actually have a solution. I found a tool that they already include in the source code that converts TensorFlow pizza models to Jetson pizza models. But when you run it, it gives you an error, right? It says TensorFlow has no attribute G file. What does that even mean? You're running a program they gave to you in the release of their software and it doesn't run.
So,
Shouldn't it run or give it an error message that isn't just gobbledygook?
Noodle, you don't have enough G's.
Your G file is
It's
missing
missing.
your pepperoni spots.
Noodle.
Your pepperonis have spots.
Noodle.
He says it's Inception pepperonis. It's pepperonis all the way down.
Oh no. Noodle. He's It does have a pepperoni spot. I think the thing I miss the most is going out and getting sushi with my friends.
You could be in the hospital with a tube in your throat, and your last dying thought is, God, I'm glad we finally went and got that sushi.
I mean, do you see this? I have to put my hair back in a
Look at that.
ponytail.
Look at that. It's
Look at that.
beautiful. And you got a dippy do on top, too.
I do have a
You
second.
got like a Pebbles and Bam Bam look.
Alright, so this is an actual room of the house. These are pallets of miniature Delta robots that Mark and I hand-built and assembled for a big robotic art installation back a few years ago.
It's basically an array of 100 Delta robots that you can control with your physical gestures. So you can think of it as an extension of your body or a prosthetic for enhancing self-expression.
I designed the robot, and Mark designed the circuitry and coding that networks all of them together. And we actually did a Kickstarter to raise funds for it, where we released the design of the robot as a kit. And for every kit we sold, we were able to afford an individual unit for our art installation. And I consider these babies to be my first brood. So these are my children, and they each have names and number designations, and even though they're all kind of, I don't know, they've seen better days for sure, I'd like to get them all up and running and repaired so that I can exhibit them again. Let's do it. Noodle needs all of it. Do you think that this is an epoch?
I think in history this will be marked as a time of
Transition?
a transition, and that things changed. Yes, I agree. This is a notable moment in history. It's what they say. May you live in interesting times. This is an interesting time. You know, we're
in an epoch.
Yes, epoch.
Sitting in the backyard drinking beer.
Exactly.
Cheers. Here's to the interesting time.
Yes.
I wouldn't feel right going to an establishment where people have to, like, wear...
Exchange diseases.
Well, no, like,
Take
servers
off PPE.
wear their masks and stuff. So long as my server looks like a stormtrooper, like, in a mask and a
And
face
is
shield.
at risk daily,
Yes, like, I wouldn't feel right doing that.
but they need a job
I know, but...
to feed their own children. What do you do?
I don't know. But it's not worth my life.
Yes, or theirs.
Or theirs. It's not worth anyone's life to go out and get sushi. I don't want to...
She's
I
so
don't
bad.
need it that bad, is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna sit here in the yard with you until the cows come home and suffer. Are you angry?
Fuck yeah,
Why?
cause my girlfriend hates my art ideas. That's okay, I hate your code ideas. I have been doing this for a week and I still don't have anything that works. And I've seen a million tutorials and none of them make sense at all, or work, or compile.
So Noodle doesn't get to see the pizza?
Yes, the world of AI is still a big basket of bad, dirty worms and COVIDs. Oh my god. I'm looking at tutorials and I have no idea what they're doing. This is unlike any coding or anything I've ever done in my life. It's also Python. Whenever I imagine Python, I imagine there's a bunch of 12-year-olds sitting in a room with computers doing a programming play date, and they all pretend, they're all like, let's make a programming language, and like 5 hours later they publish something called Python and it becomes the language that everybody uses.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, I feel like a boomer. Like literally 12-year-olds,
That's Mark's rant.
12-year-old programmers.
Mark's old man rant.
Yep.
What is this?
This is a Google Colab, which is, if I run these little gray areas, it runs on Google's server. So I don't have to do any software installation or configuration. It's all done for me. it all ran because I used one of their templates and tweaked it to make it do what I want. But the output, the thing it outputs, the model for AI is not compatible with the Jetsons model for the program that we ran a few days ago that detected pictures.
Yes.
So I have to convert that model and then move that file over to that thing, and then it should just run. So people do this, it's all referred to in the tutorials, but I can't get any of it to actually work.
Do you want to paint?
No.
No.
Don't ADD yourself.
What?
You just change subjects.
Paint.
That's what Noodle's going to recognize next is puddles.
Puddles.
He's going to name each of those puddles a name.
So we are working,
Oh.
the thing we're gonna be doing in the near future, granted Mark gets all this stuff working, the complicated stuff, is we're gonna teach Noodle how to recognize objects in abstract shapes, like clouds or constellations or dirt or these puddles. It's Saturday. I'm about to oil paint. I have brushes and stuff here, and I'm set up in a different orientation than I normally am. And it's cozy. I already kind of played around here and did a sphere. I did a dry run earlier this week to see if it like flowed well, and it seems like a comfortable place to do the thing. So I figured, yeah, with all that said and done, I could get to the streaming of the doing. I went to a magnet school here in Las Vegas called LVA. We learned a whole lot about traditional mediums and how to really hone our technical abilities. And no small amount of that time was spent actually just doing oil painting. Mark actually painted with me this week. It was his first time oil painting. Usually he's the one teaching me stuff when it comes to electronics and coding and whatnot, but it was fun actually getting to show him some things that I know. Gotta wait. That means you have to wait. It starts doing that.
Today I had Mark help me slip into one of the Shibon augments called the Suck Choker or the Hickey Choker. The Shibon project is a series of wearable devices meant for use with different parts of the body, and they sense and indicate aspects of physical arousal. My goal with this project is to encourage a dialogue amongst people about sex and intimacy.
This thing?
No, there's like a cord.
There was?
That's a 12-volt power.
Oh, this is 5 volts.
Is it?
Yeah, this is the output here. Yeah, you ready?
Yeah. And it's a bunch of silicone suckers that are actually pressed up against my neck meat, and they are having air pushed and pulled in and out of them via a bank of syringes that I'm wearing on my back right now. It's actually simulating the sensation of having your neck nibbled on by another individual, or having hickeys done to you, I guess? Getting a hickey. It's simulating receiving a hickey.
And I went in the yard and walked around wearing it just to kind of shock the neighbors. Because that's what you do when you make, I don't know, body augments that sense your arousal. You have to wear them in your yard.
That boy's got a robot girlfriend.
Of all the things that we grew in the yard, I think the things that grew the most this year were us. We grew the most.
Yes.
We were the things that grew and healed. I think I healed. I can't tell.
You're healing. You're there.
Yeah?
You're getting
I made a chicken.
made a lot of things this year.
It's not stuff I expected.